What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we are taking a look at the, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Caelum Blade Ari. So you can see it in the title. I'm not sure if it's Caelum or Caelum, but this is the Ari, and the version that I bought was the version with the copper black carbon fiber. That's the version of the knife that I decided to go for. And let me kind of give you a tour of the knife. This is not a small knife. It's actually deceptively large. What you end up with here, it's a 3.5-inch blade, so very much in the full size blade range. This is an S90V blade. I don't think it's marked anywhere. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it's not marked anywhere, but it's an S90V blade, which I like quite a bit. I think it's a, I think M390 20CD is probably a better, more balanced steel, but you end up with this. You get tired of the same thing, right? Even if you wanted to have ribeye, because you love ribeye every single day for every single meal, you'll end up with. But S90. Excellent steel, outstanding steel. You have this drop point blade with kind of a saber grind. You got a little bit of a flat with it's kind of like a hand rub satin with a belt satin on the primary bevel. You have this kind of milled pocket clip. It's this logo with the little clouds. I like it quite a bit. You have the same kind of carbon fiber overlay that you do on this side, and it's kind of ingenious because they do that, and it serves as the over travel stop, right? You do have a lock bar insert, but the over travel stop is this decorative a copper carbon fiber that just looks amazing. You've got a milled titanium pocket clip. You've got steel standoffs, and yeah, that's what you have. So let me give you some size comparisons here, and we can get started. This is the Para 2, and this is the Para 3. So, butt to butt, it's a much longer knife. It's probably a good 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch longer than the Para 2. It's probably easier to carry though, just because it falls to a fairly compact shape. So if you what Metal Complex called the carry profile, right? So I think this one is even though it's longer, even in its folded configuration here. Yeah, I think it's easier to carry. Now thickness, it's thicker than the Para 2. The scales are fairly thick, and I don't think it only has to do with the inlay here. I think it's just a thick. It feels really heavy in the hand. Now, as far as the blade thickness, I think it's the same blade thickness as what you have in the Para 2. So blade is about the same, but the scales are just much thicker. This feels like a thicker knife. And now we go with the bug out and the mini bug out. So I think the Para 2 is probably your closest comparison, but I think it carries a little bit easier, even if it's a little bit heavier than the Para 2. So let's start with ergonomics, and I think the ergonomics on this knife are bad. Actually, I think the ergonomics are bad. There's no real. I mean, you could say that there's a little bit of contouring, but probably not. It's a flat face. You got a little bit of rounding here in the corners, but overall, it even though it feels your hand well, you feel like you're holding a 2x4. Okay, you feel like you're holding a rectangular piece of steel. Okay, there's you can feel it, especially in the back, the ergonomics in this backside. It's probably a hot spot. I don't think I could use this knife for a long time, especially there's kind of the square sides to the square edge of this. It's fairly uncomfortable. So I don't think this one has good ergonomics. I think they could. Like I said, the scales are fairly thick, so this feels a little bit like the J-Cape, the original J-Cape, or the first version of the J-Cape that I had scales that had a flat face here, and then in the second version iteration that I got, they had some contouring in this direction. So I think they have enough thickness in these scales to kind of give it some contouring here, and I think it would make it I think it would make the knife so much better ergonomically from that standpoint. It would make it a lot better. So that's on the now it's a neutral handle, so obviously you can hold it in whichever way. I think it's uncomfortable in most of them. Okay, so there's that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is, other than kind of your hinderers, these guys, they did where you can reverse the pocket clip. So you have a little bit of filler tab, and then you can reverse the pocket clip from one side if you want to carry it on your other hand. Obviously, this is still a frame lock, so you don't get that kind of full ambidextrous, but you get some of the ambidextrous. Now, action. I think the action is really good. Spike flick is my preferred method of deployment for this knife, although you do have a front flipper, and it's fairly prominent, so it's easy to do. It's just I generally don't enjoy front flipping. None of them. Yeah, I've had very high-end front flippers. I enjoy the spike flick more, and even more just a flipper tab. But because there's no flipper tab, this carries fairly, in a fairly slim kind of minimalistic type profile. But the action, it's very satisfying. It's very. I'm not sure if Riyadh makes this or I'm not sure who makes these. But the action feels phenomenal. I think the action is a real strength of this knife. What I don't like in the ergonomics, I really like in the action. I think it's really good. No, it's not. If I can remember, I'll tell you which OEM. I don't think it's Riyadh, and I don't think it's We. Yeah. I can't remember. But the action is phenomenal. It's really good action. Now, cutting. So, like I said, so this one, the blade stock is the same as the Para 2. And, but you don't have the full flat grind. So, you get a very good cutting without the sliciness. You get probably 80-75% of the sliciness of a Para 2, but what you do have is a much bigger blade, right? You can. It's a good 3.5 inch, but you have a lot of the flat and then a little bit of a belly here. You can do a lot of work with this. From a cutting standpoint, I think it cuts very well. Even if it's, I think you could use it as a heavy duty knife. The scales are thick enough, and I don't think they have, though they do have some internal milling. So, man, it feels heavier. My initial thought was that they didn't have internal milling, but they do have internal milling, and it still feels really heavy. But I think from a build quality, I think you could do some heavy duty work. I think you'd have to be wearing gloves because, again, I don't think the ergonomics are very good. But you could S90V blade on a very well designed, I think this blade looks really good, and I think it works very well. Again, S90V, and I really like the edge retention of S90V. It's just that it's a little bit better than what you get on the 20CV, and you give up a little bit of the, I want to say it's a little bit less corrosion resistance on this one. But I think it's a tremendous steel. I think it's one of the great super steels. And yeah. Now, fit and finish again. I think this knife, again, when I talk about fit and finish, I'm just talking about somebody designed this, somebody decided how they wanted this to be cut and built, right? And then somebody built that. This is about talking about the build quality of that design. And I think the build quality is really good. I think the belt satin that you have here looks really nice. I think the hand rub satin on the flat, I think, looks really good. I think by design, the carbon fiber sits proud of the scales, and I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. I think the carbon fiber looks really good. I really like this carbon fiber for sure. You don't have any of the kind of pokey edges of carbon fiber. I think, like I said, the action is really good. So I think the build quality is very good. It could have come from a Riyadh manufacturing. I like I said, I don't think it's Riyadh, but it could have been. I think the quality is that good. Now, airing of grievances, I think. Well, I've spoken a lot about the ergonomics, so that's one. But I think one thing that bothers me quite a bit is, you know, from the swedge to the main grind, this line, it doesn't quite hit the point. it hits above, and it just kind of it triggers my OCD. You know, it feels like it would have been so easy to just get it there, right? Probably make the tip a little bit, well, it's probably about as strong, right? So I would have liked them to do that instead of hitting this point up here, to just hit the exact point up there. I think would have been much better. Guys, that's all I have for the Caelum Blades Ari. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully you were entertained for a little bit. If I did, then like and subscribe. And until I see you at the next one, take care.